Hello, and thank you for your interest in Rocky Mountaineer. Rocky Mountaineer celebrated 30 years of travel in 2020. We're founded by Peter Armstrong. Here he is in front of one of the trains back in 1990. Peter's vision was to connect Vancouver out to the Canadian Rockies by luxury train, and the key component being an all-daylight experience, meaning we do not sleep on Rocky Mountaineer. We overnight in hotels while traveling by train during the day. Peter understood the importance of having a host on board. That host is a storyteller, letting you know about facts of the areas that we're passing by. They're also handing out complimentary alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages throughout the day. Of course, cuisine is always important when traveling. We try to capture the essence of the region we're traveling in. So you may have salmon on board while we're traveling past the streams in the British Columbia region, or even some of that Alberta grass-fed beef. For the past 30 years, we have been operating, as I said, between Vancouver and the Canadian Rockies. That's Jasper, Lake Louise, and Banff. You're looking at our route map. There are 3 distinct routes on here. One is a 3-day route that is Rainforest to Gold Rush, the green top one that goes through Whistler and Quesnel. The other are 2-day train routes, run between Vancouver and Jasper and Vancouver and Lake Louise and Banff. The white dots on the map indicate the locations that we overnight in a hotel while traveling by train during the day, and the darker dots are locations that we begin or end our train experience and then extend the vacation. While traveling in Canada, we have 2 classes of service to choose from. That is Gold Leaf and Silver Leaf. Silver Leaf is a single level train coach. It's 14.5 feet tall. The concept is big, open, and airy. Being a single level train coach, you do have dining at your seat. While traveling through Canada, you do have breakfast and lunch while on train. And again, ample room to be able to wander, and the focus being the big windows to be able to look outside at the great scenery we are passing. We then have the Gold Leaf. This is a bi-level coach. That means it has an upstairs and downstairs, as well as an outstanding outdoor viewing platform. For the 2 or 3 days that you're on the train, the upstairs dome would be the assigned seat you have. To get downstairs, there's a spiral staircase or a single person elevator, so mobility challenges should not be an issue. Once you are downstairs, you have white linen tablecloth dining. Food is being cooked in the same train car that you are in. And then, of course, being able to get outside on that outdoor viewing platform. A lot of people question, well, what do we do for a day on the train? While traveling through Canada, we're doing about 300 miles at 30 miles an hour each day. That puts us on the train for 10, maybe even 11 hours. Early mornings is what really would start out your day. The train is typically moving by 8 a.m. with breakfast immediately served. Plenty of time for sightseeing and taking pictures as you're hearing stories told by our host on board. And then, of course, retiring to a comfort of a hotel for sleep that night. Now, again, our train is traveling typically around 30 miles an hour. We do, however, slow down when we get to something like this here, Hell's Gate on the Fraser River. We want to slow down to 3 or 4 miles an hour. We'll call that Kodak speed so you can get a picture. Now, traveling from Vancouver out to the Canadian Rockies, we leave the rainforest region of Vancouver behind before entering into the semi-arid desert region of British Columbia. You'll see lots of changes here, one being the wildlife. Bighorn sheep will dot the landscape. You'll also see deer and other goats as well, especially as we get around Lake Kamloops, where you see the goats high up in the mountain peaks. And then eventually we do get to the high alpine of the Canadian Rockies. We'll be crossing over trestles at this point and hopefully getting some great views of some of those waterfalls. Maybe you'll even get a glimpse of Mount Robson, the tallest peak in the Canadian Rockies. One thing that a lot of people are always keeping their eye out for is wildlife. So whether you're in the dining compartment of the Gold Leaf car or sitting at your seat in Silverleaf, be sure to listen to the host as they're going to be saying perhaps a moose on the left or black bear on the right. Now, not many people would come to British Columbia and Alberta for 2 or 3 days. So we have a little bit more than just the train experience. We have put together full packages. This is the First Passage to the West at Leisure package, where you have 2 days on the train and then ample time in Lake Louise for 2 nights, Banff for 2 nights, and Calgary, where you'll be off the train doing sightseeing. If you're a true train enthusiast and you want a couple of more days while on the train, you might want to consider one of our circle journeys. This is where you combine 2 of our routes and do a round trip Vancouver trip. So here you're using First Passage to the west as well as Rainforest to Gold Rush. This is a 13-day trip. 5 days will actually be on the train. Every night will be in a hotel. Now, again, when we're off of the train, we will be doing sightseeing. That can be done by motor coach, or you can even do this as a self-drive. Take a rental car, and we can help with all of the planning. We do have some great hotel partners that you can choose from, everything from a 3-star to the beautiful 5-star Fairmont Banff Springs. So again, for the past 30 years, we have been exploring British Columbia and Alberta. We now take that 30 years of experience to the United States with Rockies to the Red Rocks. This is our newest route. It launches August of 2021. We're going to be connecting Moab, Utah to Denver, Colorado, with extensions for sightseeing between Salt Lake City and Moab, as well as Las Vegas and Moab. We can travel east to west or west to east. So if you want to start in Denver, by all means, we can do that. If you'd like to end in Denver, that also will work. So again, Rockies to Red Rocks, and I think you'll understand why they call it the Red Rocks when you get out to the beautiful landscape of Utah. I'm going to talk about going eastbound here. So starting in Moab and ending in Denver, but again, you can start in Denver and end in Moab on the train. These days are a little bit shorter than that of the days in British Columbia and Alberta. So from Moab to Glenwood Springs, you see lots of beautiful locations that you'll be able to take pictures. This is a 5-hour day on the train. Be able to see some of the different rock formations, such as the Book Cliffs or the La Salle Mountains, and be able to take in some unique locations along the way. The second day on the train between Glenwood Springs and Denver is a little bit longer in duration. This is now 8 hours on the train. And now today you'll see a lot of canyons are definitely going to be the highlight of the trip. Red Canyon here, this has been dug out by a tributary of the Colorado River over many, many years. This is Glenwood Canyon. Some of the canyons are majestics, others are a little bit smaller, but either way, you'll get to see some wonderful countryside and hopefully get a glimpse of some of those animals as well. Now, while traveling in the United States between Colorado and Utah, we will be using our Silverleaf class of service. The Goldleaf class of service is just too tall to fit through some of the tunnels. So here you have, again, the Silverleaf class with the focus of the big windows looking outside. The interior of the train car really shows that you have plenty of space at your seat. You do have a footrest as well as reclining seats and even power at your seat. And again, we will be serving meals on board, and those meals will be at the comfort of your own seat in the Silverleaf class of service. There is an opportunity to upgrade, and I encourage you to talk to your AAA Northeast travel agent about that. Silverleaf Plus will give you access to a lounge car. We are renovating our lounge car as we speak, so you don't have the final product here, but everyone that is in your Silverleaf train car would also have access to this additional lounge car with some additional amenities. Locations that we're traveling: Moab, Glenwood Springs, and Denver. If you haven't heard of Moab, Utah, it should be on your list of destinations to travel. This is the gateway to Arches National Park, Canyonlands National Park, and the downtown vibe has a great artisan feel to it. Again, we don't overnight on the train. We only overnight in hotels. So each night you'll be able to have a chance to really relax and soak in the landscape. While traveling through Moab, we have 3 properties we'll be using, 2 by Hilton and 1 the Hyatt Place here. Well-appointed properties, not going to jeopardize the integrity of Rocky Mountaineer by partnering with someone that's not going to live up to our expectations. So definitely feel that the properties in Moab are a great fit for our train experience. When we get to Glenwood Springs, this has been a resort town for the past 130 years or so. Put on the map because of the hot springs in town. We will be using some of the classic properties in this area: the Glenwood Hot Springs Resort, the Hotel Colorado, and the Hotel Denver. And even though these are historic properties, they are also very well appointed, and each of them have gone through recent renovations. In Denver, this is the Mile High City, gets its name because of its elevation. There is plenty to do. The Denver Art Museum might be one of the locations you visit, perhaps heading over to Larimer Square. Or Denver is known as the Napa Valley of the craft beer movement. Perhaps you'll enjoy a flight or a pint of your new favorite craft brewery found in Denver. The hotels here are the Maven Hotel, one of the more modern properties in the area, although it has been around for quite some time. Renovation really makes it look stunning. And then, of course, the Crawford Hotel, which is right inside the train station, and the Oxford Hotel. These are all classic properties within the Denver area and a great location as well. And again, all very well appointed with some recent renovations. So we have put together a couple of different packages. You could do a base package with us. This is going to be 3 days, 4 nights, rather 3 nights, 4 days, just seeing if you're listening. We start with a pre-night in Denver and a post-night in Moab. Again, travel east to west, west to east, with the overnight in Glenwood Springs. So this would really just be the train with some extra hotels on board. However, if you want to see the beauty of Arches National Park, Canyonlands National Park, perhaps get out to Bryce National Park or Zion, you'll want to make sure that you are putting one of our packages. And we even have a package that brings you out to Lake Powell. You get to overnight at Lake Powell for an evening and really enjoy the beauty of this landscape. So how do you do that? Well, you can do it by self-drive. Again, we do have opportunities for rental car. Again, connecting Salt Lake City to Moab or Las Vegas to Moab. Or you can do it by motor coach as well. Here's one of our motor coach packages that I was just describing. A night in Vegas, a night in Bryce Canyon, where you'll be able to get to Bryce Canyon and Zion. 2 nights in Moab, that gives us the opportunities to see all of the great national parks right there as well. And again, if you want to get to Lake Powell, we have one very similar to this. Just add on that additional night in Lake Powell. Now, as we move forward into 2021, health and safety is definitely our #1 priority. Not that it wasn't in the past, but it definitely has taken an elevated importance as we move into 2021. We looked at all the areas that our staff as well as our guests are interacting and where our guests are interacting as well. Everything from check-in to transfers and boarding, traveling with the same group, for instance. We want to make sure that our travel cohort is not the entire train car. So rather than being interacted with 300 different guests, you would simply be interacting with about 50 guests by traveling within the same cohort group. While on board train, we also looked at a lot of the different health and safety protocols. Where can we enhance that? One of them was the thorough cleaning or sanitization. We always were a clean environment. We had a crew that would go up and down the train car. Well, we stopped having that crew go up and down the train car. Instead, we're going to have a cleaning crew per train car. Again, minimizing that commingling situation. We're also expecting our destination partners and hotels to be living up to the same expectations that we're setting. Now, folks, 31 is the new 30. So we have a great promotion for you. This promotion is valid all the way through April 2nd on qualifying packages on our Canadian routes. This will entitle you to 3 free perks. That is a free pre or post-night hotel, a complimentary airport transfer, as well as a dinner in your hotel. You also have a member benefit when traveling with Rocky Mountaineer, $200 merchandise credit, at least up to $200. There may be some stipulations with that, with the class of service you're in, as well as the amount of days that you're traveling. But nonetheless, nothing better than having some free credit to purchase some souvenirs with. So folks, I want to say thank you very much for your interest again in Rocky Mountaineer. Nowhere better than booking with AAA. And we encourage you to visit the reservation center today. You can chat with a AAA travel consultant and learn more about Rocky Mountaineer and even perhaps book your next vacation. Thank you very much, folks. Have a fantastic day.